Okay guys, I'm going to do a video about meditation. So I did a video earlier about journaling. I actually think meditation is a rather similar thing for me, because I wasn't, like some parts of self-improvement, you just start doing it and you're just sucked in by it. Like, I think the gym was that for me. I just started doing it, I understood why it was great, and then just kept doing it. It wasn't the same for me with journaling. Certainly isn't the same for me with meditation. But I do still believe these things are very important. And I am, the more I practice them, the more I get out of them. So I want to talk about what I think it is that meditation really brings that's good, and then how I go about it and my attitude towards it. So I think the benefits of meditation are different for different people. For me, I've always been someone who's very in his head, and I struggle to switch my head off, my thoughts off, when I might want to. And what I see meditation as is a way to switch off those thoughts. And this sort of being in my head, like, it manifests in a lot of different ways. So, like, I remember I was going out with this girl about a year ago, and we were looking for something in her bed, and I remember one time I just pulled up a duvet, and as I did it, I knocked off a glass of like vodka and coke that she had on the side, and it spilt onto her laptop, and the laptop broke, and we had to get it fixed, and that was a bit shit, obviously, on my part, and I felt very embarrassed about that. But it's funny because I didn't really know what to do about it. Like, in my head, I was just like, it wasn't like I was being lazy or sort of clumsy any more than I was normally. But I had a natural state of clumsiness about me, whereby because I was so in my head, particularly at that time, I think, that meant that I just was clumsy and didn't see it. Anyway, getting back to it, what meditation's given me now is a way to solve that. Because I remember that night thinking, like, I need to sort this out, man. Like, I can't be this clumsy all the time. But like, I didn't really know how to do it. I'm just gonna walk around like there are eggshells everywhere. Obviously not. But now I know how to deal with it, because it just makes me more aware of my surroundings. So that's one way that I think meditation is good for me. Also, I've noticed this a lot in a sort of romantic setting where, like, I'm trying to talk to girls in a a girl I'm interested in, let's say, and I'll often find that like, Robert Greene talks all about this, that, like, if you're flirting, sort of being flirtatious and seductive is a very, like, beautiful thing if it's done properly, because it's about full engagement with other people, the other person, and sort of reading off them, and it's kind of beautiful dance between the two people. And that makes it very difficult, makes just romantic stuff very difficult. It makes it really hard. You'll have a really hard time with it if sorry guys, just cautious that my memory's running out. Anyway, back to what I was saying. You have a very hard time with it if you're in your head all the time, if you're not reading off what the other person's doing. Same with, like, if you're playing in a sport, you've got to read off the other person's moves. If you're playing chess, anything. It applies to so many things. And you know, the idea that it's not just confidence, really. Let's go do another video actually. So I think that's good for getting out of my head in that scenario. Like I remember one time I was talking to a girl and I put my arm around her, and then she was like, "Oh, I've got a boyfriend," you know, and obviously it's not the end of the world, but it was a bit of an embarrassing situation. And I was looking back on it now, like I was so in my head about that. Like I was just thinking, like my mind was just going like, put your hand around her waist, you know, just do it. I wasn't really reading off the situation. Now, you know, maybe, you know, maybe she wanted me to do it anyway. I don't know. Fuck knows. But I remember thinking if I just read the situation better, I wouldn't have acted like that. You know, I wouldn't have. It would have just been obvious to me like, oh, she's going out with someone. So that's an example of that. And obviously you can apply it to a positive situation where the girl is interested in you, and you can read it off them. So, and in social situations as well. So, I'd say I feel more grounded, more happy to. So I've never been that talkative. I mean, I'm quite talkative, but like, I'm not one of those people who will just come up with limitless conversations. Some people can just do this, you know. I don't have that so much. What I do, but when I do run out of stuff to say, in the past there's always been a bit of my head that goes, oh, say something, you know. They're not gonna like you because you're not talking. Meanwhile, with this, I can now go with meditation. I just feel more grounded, and I don't think, oh fuck, I have to say something. I'm just much more relaxed. And then, because I'm in a much more relaxed state, I'll be observing the social situation much better, and just the general environment I'm in. And often that makes the conversation that I do come up with much better, because I'll be like, I'll suddenly see something, and then without even, because I'm not in my head in the same way, I'll just see something that will spark a conversation. Like maybe I'll see, I mean, it's difficult to think of an example, but let's say like a song comes on, and then I know the person likes that kind of genre. Then I'll be like, oh, I knew into this kind of band. If I'm in my head thinking about what to say, I won't be so sort of soaked up in the rest of the world to think of that as an example of what to say. And like, if you're anything like me, like you might have had the experiences where you've wanted to say something and you just say something that's like a bit dead. Like I remember one time I was just sitting with someone, and we were at a sort of Spoons pub, and I wanted to say something, and I just said, so what's your favourite pub in Manchester? And I was, you know, I think sometimes it's appropriate just to make conversation for the sake of it. But at the time, my friend across to me kind of laughed at me because it was like, just kind of shit chat. But that is an example of it coming up in my head where I was like, say something, you know, anything. If I had been more in my body, I would sort of be observing the world in a more direct way, and then conversation would come naturally. I wouldn't think about it in the same way. So that's kind of examples of how meditation's helped me. But I haven't really gone into meditation knowing that that's how it's going to help me. I've just, it's just been a result of doing it that I've retrospectively found these benefits. I've always known that there's something in it, like there's something about coming out of my brain so much that, you know, controlling my thoughts in a better way that is beneficial. but it's only been through meditating that I've discovered them. So what the point of this video really is that you might be starting to meditate and you're not really sure why you're doing it. I think that's okay. I think you have to put in consistency before you really understand what it's all about. Because meditation is a really weird thing. It's really important. Not to downplay its importance, I think it's really good. But it is just funny how it works. And you have to kind of play along with it a bit before you understand it. And also, like, the benefits will be different for you than they are for me, because you'll have a different brain. So I hope you found this helpful and encouraging.